Hey guys, so I have just finished my first jump into Skillshare. I started with 8 different classes just to kind of get a range of different ones I wanted to look at. And now that I've finished those, I can take a chance to tell you kind of how I did and how I enjoyed those. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to break down each class into 6 categories and kind of grade them for how I faced them and how I enjoyed them. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how engaging the class is, how engaging the teacher is with the camera. This one feels a little unfair in some ways because this is largely based on how engaging the teacher is in talking to camera, and that's something some people have more experience with and some people have less experience with. Obviously, I am new to it myself, this being the second video I've ever posted showing my face. The next thing I'm going to talk about is how clear the actual instruction is and if it's easy to tell kind of what the person's talking about and what they want you to do, and if you're able to basically understand what the teacher's saying. The third thing I'm going to talk about is how many examples the teacher shows. Being a teacher myself, especially in art, I find that the more examples you have, the better understanding your students are going to have of what exactly you're trying to teach them. And then the next thing I find really important is how many projects and what types of projects that you're given by the teacher. When learning something, a lot of people are very tactile learners. They need to do it themselves to hold on to the information long term. And after they've done it themselves, they're able to then build upon it and grow as learners with that information. Now, one of the big things about Skillshare is you post your projects on the class and you can have them, they also post to like your page. And once you have posted your project, people can come in, other learners can come in and comment or like your project. And also it's geared towards having the teacher themselves come and comment and give you a critique on your work. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is actually interaction with the teacher, or at least a little bit of a community. I have not had my projects on Skillshare for that long. They've only been up for about a week or two. So I'm not sure how long it's sort of expected for your project to be there before someone has a chance to comment on it. But I have looked at the commentary that other people have received on their posts that have been there a little bit longer to see if the teacher has communicated or if there's been more communication from other people who have taken the class. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about specifically is my personal growth after taking the project. How much has what I knew before and what I'm able to do after changed from my own experience. This is a little hard to guide and judge for many reasons. The main thing being that other people have a base knowledge that are different than my own base knowledge. So where I'm coming from an art and teacher background, someone else may be coming from like a formal artist education or something like that. So some of these projects could have been a little easier or a little harder based on someone's foreknowledge. So I'm going to be looking at this specifically for me. These classes could be useful for other people more or less, but I'm looking specifically at my own experience. And I hope because of that, it's able to help some other people kind of decide where they want to be with this and if it's good for them or if it's useful for them. So the first class I signed up for and participated in was Stand Out and Make Money on YouTube by professional YouTuber Jazza. Jazza is very popular of a YouTuber, Draw with Jazza, on YouTube. The class itself was 2 hours and 7 minutes and covered a lot of different things, from how to make your titles and your thumbnails more approachable to actually the math that comes into making a profit off of something like YouTube as a career. When it comes to being engaging, I gave Jazza 5 out of 5 stars because YouTube is his career. Being a personality in front of a camera is something that is a strong suit. He even has an entire class about that I'll talk about later. But Jazza's whole shtick is being engaging and being an entertainer in front of a camera. Clarity, I gave Jazza 4 stars. He goes over so much information, but specifically when I compare it to his other video, which I'll talk about in a little bit, this video falls a little bit short of that other one. And I felt like if I was giving that one 5 stars, I needed to make sure I gave this one 4. Examples, Jazza goes through several different examples for this. He talks about specifically good titling for your YouTube videos themselves, to thumbnails, to arranging your channel homepage into something appealing. And then he even goes through several Excel spreadsheets talking about different ways of creating an income as an online artist or as a YouTuber. And I feel like he really does give you various examples of things to look at, and it's very appealing. What would have been nice is for him to possibly put some of these spreadsheets into a resource on Skillshare, so that way people could play with it a little bit and figure out how the math works more in a tactile way. So I have given Jazza, for examples, 4 out of 5 stars. Jazza's only given one project for this assignment, and it is to post your homepage for your YouTube channel. But one of the things that's really neat is he's encouraged you to go to your classmates' posts, and he's actually given you almost a form to fill out on how to grade other people's, and how to do a formal critique almost of other people's works in hope of receiving a critique yourself. Sadly, this has fallen a little bit flat in the time that I've had my project posted. I have not received any likes or comments from other viewers or from Jazza himself. Granted, it's only been up there for like a week and a half, but I feel like this is something where Skillshare is a little bit lacking, and because there's no incentive to participate in the community, I feel like if there was some extra like sticker or badge or something you could receive for being someone who takes the time to comment on a lot of other projects, I feel like that would be helpful. But as of right now, it's just up to the teacher to try to encourage it. But as a teacher myself, and I have to say this honestly, it's almost impossible to get people to participate in any sort of critique, even if it's part of a grade. So if it's something like Skillshare, when you're pushing yourself to do something, you're going to be pretty hard pressed to start a communication discussion with that. So one project, I have received 0 interaction. When it gets to the growth, I do have my day job, which takes up a lot of my time. But in other ways, when it comes to working on the titles of your YouTube channels, your thumbnails, and just in general making things more approachable, I definitely did see some growth, and I did implement some of this into my YouTube channel. So I give my personal growth after this class 3 out of 5 stars. The next class I participated in was Creating Art That Sells, a Working Guide, Learn with Society 6 by Catchlea. She's an artist who sells a lot of work on Society 6 and a lot of those print-to-order websites, and creates patterns and things that go onto bags and phone cases. And her artwork is very beautiful, very watercolor and graphic, and simple, but also, you know, of the style that's very popular right now. In her class, she talks specifically about what kind of artwork would sell, and how to sign up with a print-on-demand website, how to crop and prepare your images. The class itself was only 24 minutes long. I did find a lot of it useful, but also at the same time, a lot of it was theory. There wasn't a lot of things to do specifically with this class. Her cinematography and lighting is beautiful. She talks to camera well. I've given her 3 out of 5 stars because I am comparing her to Jazza, who's much more high energy, where she is much more relaxed and calm, which would be appealing to some people, but not as much to me. She's very clear with information, gives lots of statistics. I gave her 4 out of 5 stars. Her examples, she goes through one piece of artwork and how she would prepare it for being like a poster versus being a phone case, and changing the colors and all that stuff. So she's got some really nice examples. I've got 3 out of 5. She only assigned one project, which was to post some of your artwork that has been turned into something for sale. I posted something that I've done on Redbubble of a dinosaur on a throw pillow. And this is actually one of the few projects that I've gotten some interaction on. I've gotten 4 likes and a comment from the actual teacher herself. It's very short and sweet and positive. Great use of pattern making. I love how, in addition to the primary motif, you also included a spot illustration to help break up the pattern to feel more cohesive and interesting. So it's very supportive, it's very positive. I do wish there was a little bit more of a critique involved, but there's no push to do anything more than that. And I haven't gotten much interactions from other people, so it is nice direct input from the teacher. After taking this class, I put my growth only at about 5 out of 2, again, because I don't have time to put this much effort into being a professional artist and creating my work. So as at this point in my life, a lot of the information that I receive from her is not that useful right now, but it does encourage me to try to push and take some of the things I already have and see if I can put them on my Redbubble account or something like that. So all in all, we have 3 stars for engaging, 4 for clarity, 3 for examples. She had 1 project. I did get some engagement, and 2 out of 5 stars personally for my growth. So the third class I took was How to Talk and Present to Camera Like a Pro. It's the second video by Jazza or Josiah Brooks. And this class was difficult. It was interesting. Talking to camera is something that Jazza specifically has skills in because of his career. He is a YouTuber. That is what he does as a profession. So when talking about presenting to camera, he has so much experience that you're able to learn from. Engaging, I've given him a 5. Again, that comes from the fact that the lesson he's teaching us is kind of what he does professionally. Clarity, again, 5, comes from experience. He does very well with it. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. Examples. This is something that really shines in this project because not only does he encourage you to do your own things, what he's actually done is he has taken all of the raw footage from creating this Skillshare class, and he has put it all together entirely uncut, so that way you're able to see and watch the mistakes he's made, how he's set things up, what he's done, how he's altered the images and the video, and you're just able to see how he does what he's doing. And it's amazing, and it was such a great experience to watch. And there's over 2 hours of raw footage. Projects, again, Jazza's only given you 1 project, but it's a doozy. He tasked you with creating a YouTube video, talking to camera yourself, and narrating exactly your creative process when it comes to video making. Not many people have completed this project, and personally it was difficult for me. I have a lot of anxieties when it comes to my appearance, and especially when it comes to my inability to keep eye contact with somebody, and especially in this case a camera. So it was nice to kind of take the excuse of I have to do this, it's an assignment, to create something and try something new. Now, Jazza has promised in the comments of this class that he will specifically take the time to do commentary on the video for the first 20 people who have posted a project for this class. I am number 14, so I am in under that bar. It seems like it has been a while, though, since he has had the time to comment on anybody's projects. I know he's a very busy person, so as of right now, there is no engagement on this project. But at the end of it, I give it a 5 out of 5 stars for growth. I started this video, and you'll see throughout the video a little bit more where I'm talking to camera, and that's something I've always been interested in trying to do. I'm still very nervous about it, very self-conscious, but I have done it, and that's a lot of growth for me. So all in all, we've got 5 stars for engaging, 5 stars for clarity, 5 stars for examples, 1 giant amazing project, no interaction yet, and 5 out of 5 stars for growth. The next class I participated in was probably the shortest of all of them. This one's only 19 minutes long. It's Crush YouTube Branding, Make Free Professional YouTube Thumbnails from Storm Pierce. It was short, it was quick, it was concise. I've given him 4 stars for being engaging. There's no face to camera speaking or anything, it's just us looking at his screen. But he's interesting, he moves at a decent pace. Same thing goes for the clarity. I've given him a 4 out of 5. As far as examples, he had a ton of examples. He showed us different things to look at, different types of thumbnails. It was great. I gave him a 4 out of 5 on examples. Projects, we only had 1 project, and it was to create a thumbnail. I used his methods to create a thumbnail for my Speak to Camera Jazza video. and they did pretty good. As far as interaction, he is one of the few people who actually, within a day or two, interacted with my project. He commented, "This is awesome. Great job adding personal touches." So there is some interaction, so that was nice. I don't feel comfortable talking specifically about my personal growth after this set. It was such a short class, and a lot of what he taught were things I kind of knew in concept, but I hadn't put together. But what I really got after watching his class was an amount of resources. He goes through so many useful resources when it comes to doing things like thumbnails. He gives you multiple free stock websites and all of these other places, apps that can help you create really beautiful thumbnails. So if you're going to go to his class for anything, I would go to this class for the resources alone. So all in all, we've got 4 on engaging, 4 on clarity, 4 on examples, 1 project. We did have interaction, and just listen to this guy for his resources. They're great, they're useful, they're amazing. It was fun. So one of my favorite classes that I took through just this first look at Skillshare has got to be Tom Forsey's Odd Bodies, Illustrating Expressive, Stylized People. Not only was the content fun and interesting, but how he organized this class was amazing. It was so engaging. Gave him 5 out of 5 on engaging. He was so clear. I gave him 5 out of 5 on clarity. How he organized this class is he started with some general knowledge and did a little bit of lecture with plenty of examples, and then he dove into so many exercises, so many projects. I gave him a 5 out of 5 on examples, and he had 6 or more projects in this class. It was amazing. He started with a basic project and it grew and grew and grew, and he encouraged you also to redraw each drawing you did, getting a looser and more relaxed feel with it. So you would draw something once, and then you would trace over that and create more looser lines. And so you wound up drawing everything multiple times. So it was 6 projects, but it really was more than that. In each project, you were doing more than one pose or something like that. So I really enjoyed this class, and I really, really suggest this class. It was so much fun. Interaction, actually, while I was recording the audio for this, he interacted with my posts. So he was going to be one of my ones that didn't interact until last minute. He slid on in there and did interact. I had gone through all of the other posts people have made. It had seemed like he was trying to post at least once on everybody's. So it was nice that he actually, made it to mine. In my project, I posted several different parts of the assignments, the projects he had given us. I had done them all in a sketchbook. I'm trying to keep a lot of my Skillshare stuff in a sketchbook if I can, so I can keep it all together and keep track of it all. And that seemed to be something he kind of appreciated. In his comment, he wrote, "Neat stuff. I like that you did all of this off screen. Thank you for sharing." So there's not as much critique here, and I'm not gaining much from the fact that he's interacted with me, but it is really nice that I have gotten that interaction. As far as personal growth at the end of this project, I definitely rate this 5 out of 5. I've become a lot more comfortable with just being a little more relaxed when it comes to poses, especially when it comes to complicated things like hands after this. And I really like what I made in his class, and I really enjoy having these practices in my sketchbook just to show that personal growth. So to go back, we've got 5 on engaging, 5 on clarity, 5 on examples, 6 projects, interaction, and 5 out of 5 growth. So this class was awesome. The last class that I did before I stopped to make this video was How to Illustrate a Children's Picture Book from Claire Lorden. Now this class is in 3 separate parts. We have part 1, character design, which was about 29 minutes. Part 2, thumbnailing a storyboard, which was 23 minutes. And creating a book dummy, which was 31 minutes. In the first section, we go through character design, which I really enjoyed. It wasn't much that I had not known already, but it was fun forcing myself to sit down and do what I was going to do. All in all, I would rate her as about a 3 on the engaging. It's obvious that she's not really comfortable in front of a camera, but then again, neither am I, so I don't really count that against her personally. Clarity, she's definitely a 4 on clarity. There's some things that could have been explained a little bit more, but again, 4 is a really good score. I really did enjoy this class. Examples. She gives you so many examples. She's published several children's books in the past, and she actually goes through and shows you kind of the process she took on those books. So it's nice to see some like real world examples. And projects. Now this is a lot of projects, and I think that's why she broke it down into 3 parts. On the first part, there's 7 projects alone just in the designing of characters. When you get to the second part, you're doing thumbnailing, so while there's technically 1 project, there's so many little parts to that project. And on the last part, you're creating a book dummy. You are creating basically an illustrated children's book. It's not 100% illustrated because it's not meant to be, but the amount of work and the amount of time that I put into this class blows all of the other classes out of the water, because I wanted to do it justice, and I wanted to do at minimum enough to post my projects on her page. I had a lot of trouble sticking with these projects just because I was going with her tortoise in the hare example instead of writing my own story, so the wind got knocked out of me a little bit at the end, but I did finish. I did all of the character design stuff. I did my thumbnails, and I did enough of the book dummy to post as a project. So as far as projects, it really blows things out of the water. With interaction, when I had finished the character design portion, I had posted the character designs I had done onto Instagram. She did comment on my Instagram post. Lovely characters, these turned out so great, and I love your process sketches too. I hope you enjoy the rest of the children's book series. She has not, however, commented on my actual projects on Skillshare. This could be that she feels like she's commented on Instagram, so that's okay, or the fact that her class was the last one I took, so there has been less time that has passed between when I took the class and now when I'm recording, so she may have not had time to make a comment. Besides the character illustration course, I am the only one who has posted a project on her classes, even though they have been taken by several people. So I don't know if that comes from lack of interest in the subject or just people have not looked specifically at her videos yet. But I do have a little bit of a sense of pride that I have done it, and I have completed it. And doing a children's book is something that I've always wanted to do, and this class has really shown me how much work that actually is. Because dang, that's a lot of work from start to finish if you're doing it by yourself. I was not even able to complete a dummy tortoise and the hare story already written for me children's book, let alone one that I'm making from scratch. So it really has opened my eyes to the difficulty of something like that, even for it being a picture book for little kids. So in total, 3 on engaging, 4 on clarity, hundreds of examples, so many dang projects. I did have interaction on Instagram. Personal growth at the end of this one, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I feel like I've given a lot of those, but even if I didn't finish a book at the end of this class, it's really helped me realize how much work goes into one, and I do understand the process so much better after her class. I understand some of the lingo so much better. And when I do finally come across a story that I'm passionate about and I do want to create into a children's book, I have the knowledge and the resources so I can go back and focus on that. So those are the 8 classes that I've completed with my first stretch in Skillshare. I plan on doing at least one more video on this because what I want to check next is sustainability. Can I keep up this pacing and can I get my money's worth out of a Skillshare subscription? All in all, out of these 8 classes, if I were to rank them, I would put the Odd Bodies class definitely as number 1. It was so engaging, so much fun. I learned so much. Number 2, I would put Jazza's How to Talk to Camera video because I'm talking to camera right now, and that's something I probably wouldn't have done without his class. And number 3, I'd probably put the series on children's book illustration. Looking specifically at Skillshare at this point, do I think it's worth it? Yes. I've learned a lot, I've developed a lot, I've done a lot of projects. My biggest concern is if I'm able to keep this up to a point where it's worth paying a monthly fee to have this service. I'm worried, and this is something that I do personally, I know a lot of people out there in the world do, is they get really, really into something, they're really into developing, and then they put it aside and never pick it up again. So if that's what's going to happen, it's not worth having a monthly subscription service that just gets pulled from your paycheck every month. For some people, it just might be easier to see if they can find YouTube tutorials rather than paying for a specific service like this. I also want to check in later and see if I've gotten any more interaction from my teachers or classmates on these classes, because that is the thing that makes it a little more unique than just looking up how-to videos on YouTube, is there is a platform to communicate and get critique from other people if it gets used. I hope you guys found this video at least moderately interesting. I hope you got to enjoy some of the projects I've done, and I hope you like my next video when I go in and focus on some other parts. I hope to focus a little bit more on things like comic creation, and I want to create an intro video for my YouTube and do a couple more things like that. I also want to work on my Instagram presence. So I hope that you guys are willing to go through that journey with me. At this point, I run out of things to say. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching, and I hope you see my next video. Bye.